What if I told you that being confident on camera has nothing to do with feeling ready and everything to do with feeling awkward and scared and doing it anyway? Whilst I was starting out on YouTube, whenever I spoke to camera at home, I would feel skin-crawlingly awkward, and when I went out to make content in public, I felt extremely nervous. But I did it anyway, and I'm still alive, right, to tell you the story. As a result of this, I was able to build a 6-figure business through content creation that I love. So if you've ever wondered how to speak on camera naturally, with authenticity and charisma, and build real confidence whenever you press record, here's how. So when I first started out in business when I was 21, I was told by a mentor to do something called cold video outreach, which means instead of sending an email to a prospect who doesn't know who you are, you would send a personalized video to a prospect. When I heard this advice, I thought, great, this is gonna make me stand out so much, this is awesome. So I made a plan, I had a prospect in mind, I was ready to make a video, and I just couldn't press record. I could not will myself to do it. I tried for like half an hour just staring at the record button. What actually I ended up doing instead was going outside, grabbing my bike, riding to a forest, and I actually ended up crying in the forest. And I think it's because it represented the breaking of this barrier to be like, instead of I'm building this business and yeah, it's cool, I'm building it, but I'd never really put my face on the line before and said like, here's who I am, would you like to interact with my business or buy from me? I'd never done that before. And that's really what getting on camera is for a lot of people. It's putting themselves out there as the face of their business, and it can be incredibly nerve-wracking, as I felt in the forest that day. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't come home and close the laptop and think, oh, I can't do it, this isn't for me. There's something about the process of letting my emotions out that when I came home, I just thought, fuck this, I'm just gonna do it. Press record, and then I made a 3-minute video. And it was probably terrible, but I did it and I sent it to the guy. Did I get a response? No, of course I didn't, but that didn't matter. That day, I felt elated. And as I made more and more of these personalized videos to send to prospects, my confidence grew. And that's the first point here, is that confidence comes afterwards, not before. You have to feel your fear and then do it anyway. Now, even if you do this, you overcome your fear, you make your first video, there is a huge obstacle between you giving up and not doing this ever again and you keeping on doing this until you're good at it. And that is awkwardness. But there's a certain mindset shift when it comes to awkwardness that has served me incredibly well. And 2 of the single best things in my life have come from this mindset. The first thing was when I was around 17, I typed into the internet, as all 17-year-old boys do. Not what you're thinking. Did that when I was like 12. I typed in how to talk to girls. And I found a whole world of content that was dedicated to this topic. It genuinely blew my mind. And some of the stuff was pretty ropey. Other things were incredibly helpful. And it was like this big introduction to like self-development for me. These guys were talking about the idea of, instead of going out to try and like wow a girl and like be all charismatic and have her be like, oh wow, who's this guy? That would just paralyze you, because you know you couldn't do that because you never practiced it. So how could you go and do that if you've never done it before? Actually, what you needed to do instead is go out with the mindset of, let's go and talk to somebody and have an incredibly awkward interaction. And it was this idea of getting really comfortable with awkwardness. With that in mind, the bar got so much lower. I was no longer being like, right, I want to be Mr. Charismatic who's gonna get a girlfriend in the first girl he meets, to, okay, I can just go up to a girl and just say hi and see where it goes. And if it's not awkward, that's amazing, but I'm almost expecting it to be awkward. And I did that quite a lot and had some fun. And when I was 21, I approached a girl in a gym and had a pretty awkward interaction with her. And 9 years later, she is my life partner and we have a baby daughter together. And when I was starting my YouTube, I had the same mentality. Right, let's just press record and be awkward on camera for 5 minutes. Okay, cool. Let's do another video the next day, press record, and just be super awkward on camera for 10 minutes. And I got better and better until when it was time to actually start my channel, my first video was actually not that bad. These 2 incredible things that I have, my family and my business, both came into my life because I got really good at being comfortable with awkwardness. The road to speaking on camera naturally can be a pretty intense one. It is you looking at yourself in the mirror. And so it's really important to celebrate all of the small wins along the way. So when you press record, if there is a moment in a video through your 8 minutes of awkwardness, maybe there's a 1 minute or a 30 seconds where you feel connected and you feel like yourself. You maybe feel like you expressed something that was kind of internal and you'd never actually got out before. Those little moments are super key to celebrate. I remember when I was doing this for the first time and I felt like my whole expression was this bottleneck. Like I had so much inside me that I wanted to share, but then it was coming out of this like expressionless, robotic, monotonous voice. And whenever I started getting in touch with little moments of like, I was like, holy shit, that was me, that felt like me. Okay, let's like do it again, let's go again. And I was getting really excited. And I think that was so key to help me keep going, because otherwise I would have got so bored of my own expression and so frustrated I would have stopped. But as soon as I found a moment where I was like, this feels like me, I just tried to spend more and more time in that moment because it felt beautiful. It really felt like an amazing internal journey that I was going on of discovering emotions and discovering how I could express my emotions through my voice, through my mouth, through my body. And it was so liberating because up until then I had felt so limited and stiff. So you have to celebrate your small internal wins along the way. And if you do that for long enough, you will start getting external wins. You've got to celebrate those too. An external win that I'm celebrating right now is that I just passed 20,000 subscribers on this channel. You guys are legends. I've been reading your comments. Thank you so much for following the journey. If you want to go deeper, I have a free speak on camera like this to get views and make sales PDF. It's quite a few pages and it lays out the blueprint to how to actually get better at this skill set so you can grow your own personal brand. The next point here is incredibly important if you want to feel like you are yourself on camera. And without doing this, you're always going to be putting on a mask. Back to my own little story when I cycled out into the woods and had a little cry. There was something extremely important that happened there that I had no idea was happening in the moment, which was I felt my emotions and I fully felt the fear, the resistance, the nervousness that I was going through, and I allowed myself to feel it. And having felt all of that fear and processed it, when I actually went to go to talk to camera, there was far less resistance. What happens when we actually feel our fear and feel what's in our body is that it starts to dissolve. So if there is fear that lingers when you think about talking to camera, when you press record, you feel this tightness, you feel this nervousness, you feel like people are watching you, then it's super important to not run away from that emotion, because by feeling it, it transforms, it transmutes that emotion, that negative emotion, into authenticity. If instead you push down that emotion and think, right, I'm just gonna numb it, I'm not gonna feel it anyway, and I'm just gonna talk, then it can work, it can get you started, but you're not gonna be authentic, or at least you're not gonna be as authentic as you could be. Because there's gonna be a disconnect between how you're trying to be perceived, which is usually on YouTube like positive, inspirational, upbeat, with how you actually feel. And you've got this whole well of like fear and uncomfortableness that's surrounding this activity that you're actually doing right now. So this disconnect is going to cause inauthenticity. However, if you feel the fear and you feel the emotion that you're fighting against right now, then it transmutes that into one. It's like instead of this being this disconnect, the whole thing aligns. And so then you are working with yourself, you're being congruent, you have alignment, and that's going to create more authenticity than you ever imagined. So when you watch back your video, by doing that, I challenge you to feel your fear, then watch back your video and see just how authentic you're coming across. This next thing has been incredible for me to be able to show up with more authenticity when I'm speaking, which is asking myself, what is my truth right now? I think I got this from a guy called Hudson. I'll link his channel below. He has amazing content. And by asking myself this question, what is my truth right now, before I record, it always taps me into exactly how I'm feeling. And still, to this day, this is why I said in the introduction, this is about feeling awkward and scared and doing it anyway. Still to this day, I will still get negative emotions, even though I've done this for years. So I'll ask myself that question, what is my truth? And I'll feel into it. And I'll be like, well, I feel a little bit of fear as to how this video is going to do on YouTube. Okay, that's an interesting emotion. Let's sit with that for a bit. All right, what else is my truth? I feel super excited to be able to do this and talk to thousands of people on the other side of this camera. That's sick. All right, okay, I also feel that. There's some excitement there. I also feel a bit of kind of this frustrated impatience that I want to make this video and I want to do the best that I can, but There's sort of an uneasiness that goes with that, a sort of slight perfectionism. Okay, let's feel into that as well. And when I feel those things and process them, just by asking that question, what is my truth right now? It aligns me to be like, this is my truth. This is something I can stand on. And this is what I can use to speak to camera in the most authentic way I can, to connect with myself and to connect with my audience. So there it is, that is the truth. If you want to learn how to talk to camera naturally, you have to feel the fear, feel the awkwardness, make awkwardness your friend. Ask yourself, what is my truth right now? Feel those emotions, talk to the camera anyway, embark on that process, press record and just keep doing it, keep showing up. That's how you build real confidence over time. As I said, that free talking to camera guide is in the description. And if you want to learn how to speak on camera to blow up your business, watch this video next.